now from Hollywood, California, the horror capital of the world, the Boulet Brothers, creatures of the night.
Welcome, dear listeners, to a new episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night Post-Mortem. So for those of you that don't know, our Post-Mortem is a recap and review of our show that's currently airing on Shudder, the Boulet Brothers Dragula Season 666.
Before we deep dive into episode 3, which is our Holiday of Horrors challenge, I want to talk about music for a minute because we released a Halloween EP called the Boulet Brothers Halloween House Party a few weeks ago, and people are loving it. And the vinyls, which we had all of these like designer presses and like standard ones, have all sold out. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I felt like when we conceptualized this idea, we're like, we want a physical album, you know, that like you used to have old Christmas albums or whatever, and we wanted to make one for Halloween, and so we did. So I'm so happy that people are resonating with that and buying them.
100%. And it really taps the nostalgia vein, right? It's so cute, and it's like a retro kind of thing to collect. And speaking of that too, we recently released our action figures as featured in episode 2, our Killer Dolls Challenge, and those were up on our website and literally sold out in less than one day.
Yeah, I think it was 6 or 7 hours.
Crazy.
Yeah, I thought people would like them, but I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know it was going to be that crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
We might release another batch of them. I'm looking into it now to see. Takes a long time. We've been working on those for a long time in the background.
I didn't think they were ever coming.
I know. I mean, like the same thing with those masks. I think it took like a year to get them produced and out.
Yeah.
But anyways, I do want to say something about the music, which is we are running a contest. I don't know, it may or may not be announced by the time this comes out, but we are asking people to get in their Halloween costumes or a Halloween costume, like full makeup, clothes, everything, and to record a video of yourself in your costume and add one of our songs behind it. So upload it on TikTok or whatever, choose one of our songs to be your floor show music, and then we're going to pick one winner, and we're going to give you some of those rare vinyls that we were just talking about that you cannot get.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be like a little vinyl and CD EP package.
I forgot about that. And I know that was something you were cooking up on the back burner of your little cauldron. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a really cute idea.
I mean, people are already using like Ghost Train and All Hallows Eve a lot. And a surprise hit song that people are using is Nosferatu Beach Party.
Yay.
Which I love.
Oh, my God. I love it, too. And another thing on the horizon coming up in a few short weeks is our annual Boulet Brothers Los Angeles Halloween Ball. We won't dwell on it too long, but it's the best Halloween party you'll ever go to in your life. It's something we pour ourselves into completely and fully. Tickets are on sale now at halloween.bpt.me. And if you can't deal with all of that, you can just go to bouletbrothersdragula.com and there's links there. So get them now because we will be there, of course. I mean, the whole place is just decked like a Halloween haunted house from hell. There's pumpkins and a satanic marionette theater. We have Asia, Consent will be there, Gray Matter, Aurora. We've got multiple DJs on multiple levels, slutty guys, and Jimbo, the drag clown, is also going to be headlining with us too. So it's definitely something you do not want to miss. Let's take a quick break, and we'll bring Ian in when we come back and begin this holiday from hell. Welcome back, my darlings, and with Ian joining us now, the Dark Triad is complete.
Ooh, I don't know what holiday we would actually celebrate. I mean, of course, Halloween, but I feel like we need like a Queens of Darkness and the Igor Day.
I like that. I
Yeah.
agree. It could go along with Haunted Baby Holiday.
Oh, there, double baby haunted holiday.
Haunted Baby Mansion.
All right, so let's get into this episode. This is episode 3 of the Boulet Brothers Dragula, season 666. Currently airing on Shudder and AMC Plus. New episodes come out on Monday nights, and we do this on Wednesday, so we give you a couple of days to watch it. All right, so this is the first time you're seeing our horror host looks from the season and our set, and that's sort of where we're hosting from for the rest of the season, and that's our look, and so you get to see that for the first time.
May I just say, like, y'all look amazing, and I didn't know that this was going to be the standard set moving forward, but with that knowledge, like, I'm actually really excited because the intros have been, dare I say, very slay. I'm not going to say a certain word that got us demonetized the other day, but it is very that. You look amazing, and it makes me think about that listener question from the other episode that was like, oh, I missed the kind of skits, and I think that those are really cool, and of course, like, I love them, but for me, like, seeing the intros delivered in this way is actually really satisfying. Like, I'm like, oh my God, yes. Like, I feel like
to hear that.
Yeah, like, I feel like I get to know. I get to know what we're doing for the day. I'm like, yay, oh my God. Because I try not to look at, the episode title or whatever. I just try to click on my Shutter app and I'm like, what? Just go. And so to see y'all deliver sort of you're not hinting at it really. It's like, it's pretty obvious what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're on the cast and it's like, what are these dolls? No, I really love it. And you look so beautiful. Like, I love it.
Thank you.
That hair, it really is it's all about that hair.
So let's get into the entrance lab. So the cast reunites to discuss, as they always do, who they think went home and just sort of where things are standing. The Aurora and Majesty stuff flares back up a little bit.
And speaking about Aurora and Majesty, I thought it was interesting that these rumors, these air quote rumors that may or may not have existed, actually do exist. And that is corroborated by both Auntie and Jaharia because they heard it separately and privately before they even got to the show.
And the fact that multiple people sort of came to production with this is interesting to watch, I'll say.
Yeah.
It's definitely spicy. Like last episode of Postmortem, Creatures of the Night with Boulet Brothers, Swan, you mentioned that the show is sort of firing on all pistons with this drama from the, dare I say, like the real world. And, when I saw the episode 2, I was like, okay, like, sure, this thing does happen, but to see it here and have multiple people be like, oh no, girl, I heard that. I was like, girl, I don't know who's leaking your information or who you're talking to, because there's a lot of people who you might need to say, hey, I am going away to spooky summer camp, just to kind of, batten down the hatches. But girl, you better get it together.
Yeah.
Scary.
Well, I don't even mean multiple people saying they heard it. I'm saying there were multiple people that did this as far as talking to production.
Well, and then I love how when it's like Majesty's like, well, I mean, and it's like, well, no, actually, I don't know because it's multiple people.
Exactly. There's more to come with that. Then we get into Desiree returns. Desiree is really good TV, I think.
Yeah.
Like she is absolutely just herself at all times. Love it or lump it. And I love that about her.
She's unhinged. I swear. I just look at that character and I'm like, this bitch is unhinged.
An agent of chaos for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, being on set with her, she's always so respectful of the production team and us and all that stuff. But her chaos is real and unrestrained. And you don't see it a lot, on the show because we film for so many hours every day. But you can see people's reaction to her later in this episode that's just like, bring it down because she was on 10 all the time.
Well, it starts to reach like a fever pitch, and I think you can kind of tell when she comes back into the lab, it's a bit of a mixed reaction. Like I think there are people who are maybe very understanding of why it kind of went down that way, but at the same time a little like, ooh, okay, like here we go. All right.
Yeah, so I want to talk about Scylla a little bit just quickly because obviously we said bye to Scylla on the last episode, and this episode the cast is learning that she is no longer with us. I would love to see more of Scylla. I think Scylla is great TV. I think she had interesting drama with the cast, and I was like, I really wanted her to stay around longer, but the chips fall where they will, and I don't want to influence that. So that's naturally who went home that episode, unfortunately.
It's interesting because since this episode has come out and the show has filmed and it's been several months now, you can see that the experience of being on Dragula has sort of like catapulted and transformed Scylla's drag in specific ways. Like I think the branding is stronger. The makeup I've seen is definitely more expressive. Like even in your interview with Scylla,
yeah,
I'm like, wow, I loved the look.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I hope as a fan that we have not seen the last of Scylla. And my favorite thing about Scylla is that she wasn't afraid to say her opinion.
I know.
Yeah, like I think that there are people who it's tough to be in the bottom. It's tough to have a room full of people saying, oh, well, I don't think that you're ready to be here. And Scylla never backed down, which is cool as hell.
I do respect that too. Another dynamic we got to watch too was this Asia Pi conflict that just seems as though it's just based on they're standing on a mound of like duplicity, uncertainty. Can I trust you? And that is interesting.
This is my favorite interaction on the show right now. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I was very sad to see Scylla leave as well because I was very invested in the Scylla anti-Aurora. I'm like, yay, more. And then Scylla leaves and I'm like, oh no. But now I have my new two Supremes, which is I have Pi and Asia. I'm like, will y'all two just make out and get over it? Like, I don't know what this is, but I love it.
All right, so let's get on to this episode's challenge, which is, as we mentioned, the Holiday of Horrors, which I love. I absolutely love. Like, I think if you look at American holidays through a certain lens, it is disgusting and debaucherous and gluttonous and tacky.
Yeah,
it's also pagan and strange and disguised with this veneer of like so many patriotism, religion. It's wild.
Our holidays make no sense. I always joke with Swan. I'm like, if an alien came down at Christmas time and looked around, they'd be like, "There's a baby and a manger, but a huge cartoon guy with a red suit and a beard. There's reindeer flying through the air with a light up. You'd be like, what is this right now? And we also have Tammy on this episode, which I'm really excited to include in the show because it's a queer dating app.
Yeah.
So it's not like guy on guy hookup app, you know? And I think our audience and our cast is so queer and gender fluid and all over the place that I think this app is the perfect pairing for this.
I agree. And people just need to get used to this idea that it's not so binary and you may not fit into that world. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Just let people live their damn lives.
Exactly. It's none of anybody's business.
My favorite thing with this nasty fright feet, because like so barfy, create this flirtatious and fun profile video. Like I thought that was, I loved to hear that because their faces are like cracking. They're like, fish brain, what? And then like, I gotta be cute. Funny.
What did you think of that?
I thought that the grossness was amazing. Like the bonbon, well, the Boulet bonbons are filthy and disgusting, and that piece I love. But I want to ask the entire cast, have you ever been on a dating app before? Have you ever shopped your bus on the internet? Because as a former bus shopper on the internet, I'm like, you better get in there and be like, hi, my name is Ian, bottom sub, praise kink, I love locker rooms. Like, where is the sex, mama? Like, everyone's like, I'm just looking for like a nice like lover in the night. I'm like, come on.
They're softies that want to be loved.
Totally.
Yeah,
except for Pi, who got her shirt off. Good girl.
Pi's like, oh, I know how to do this.
Pi's like, oh yeah, no, I've been here before.
How do you think Pi is coming across in general?
I don't know that other people are maybe seeing the same thing that I am, but I adore Pi. Like, I think that their character is, I think they're playing the game and they're trying to play to win, but that may come off a little bit, not everyone's favorite cup of tea. I think that people may be like, I don't like that they're playing the game.
Yeah, and you know how, like, when you are there on set experiencing it, you really get to see what each person's personality is. But you do not know how that's going to come across on the screen.
Absolutely.
Until you see the final edit. And then after a couple of episodes, you're like, oh, wait, this character is being built for this person. It's not always who they are, but it is absolutely the reality of how they come off. And I think a lot of people are not aware of their self in that way.
Oh my God. That would like lesson learned even from our experiences of being on television for the first couple of years, but then seeing it over and over with these characters when you think as the EP of the show, this is the way this person is going to come across.
Right.
Oh, when episode 2 drops, the fans are going to fill in the bit. They're going to love them. They're going to hate them. And we get it wrong. We still get it wrong. You can never control or anticipate what the crowd is going to think.
I think that's just human nature. Like, you know, people react to the vibe you have, even your look. Like, I think there's a psychology there that we just don't know.
Totally.
And speaking of psychology and an enigma of the psychological world, Cynthia Dahl is back with us again.
I think enigma of the psychological world is definitely a way to put it, and or the alien who came to Earth to look at the holidays. I'm like, holy shit, Cynthia. I love her.
It's so unhinged.
She's making for a great exorcister so far.
Yeah, very
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah. So we get into a little bit of Majesty's backstory, at least from the last couple of years. What did you think of that? Because, I know at first you thought maybe they were coming off a little fake, So do you think this is also? What do you think of this?
I don't think that the things that have happened at home are fake. Like, Majesty, if you're listening to this, I just want you to say that I am sorry that this is happening to you. Like, that is all very, very traumatic stuff that's happened, and that's really hard. It just is very difficult for me as a viewer, and not as a person who I know Majesty. Like, we have toured together, and I think that they're a wonderful person. But as someone who watches the show, I'm seeing this happen, and it just feels very, camera aware.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing this happen. It's like, okay, well, we're all working on our things, and it's now my turn. And so I'm going to turn it up to 11, which is not a bad thing to do. Like, you have to play to win. If people are saying, well, what's your experience with this? It is your job on set to say, okay, well, bam, here I go. Let me be open. Let me be honest about my experience. And that's good. Like, you should do that. But for me personally, I watch and I'm like, okay, beware the drag. Let's go. It doesn't resonate for me the same way. But like I said, I think that people are resonating with Pie a different way than I am, and I'm resonating with Majesty in a different way. I think because I want that killer instinct from season 2.
Asia's resonating with Pie differently too, because she drops the alliance bomb.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into the alliances. I'm into it. I'm into playing dirty. I want to see it all go down. And it does on this season. It happens. There's a couple of very intense moments about that where people utilize these new gifts that we give them to, disqualify or get rid of other people.
Oh, that's really exciting because first of all, I love the curses. The mirror mirror curse is so cute. And I will also say, for longtime fans, I really love that this season is sort of secretly the Boulets wish fulfillment season. There are so many things where I'm like, girl, you've been talking about that for years, and I love that they're happening.
You know what's interesting? The mirror mirror curse, the mirror was very small. When we did Halfway to Halloween, right? We had the Nightmare Girls come in, which was Kendra, Melissa, and Coco, and they had their own dressing room area. I go back there in the middle. I'm like, hey, let me check in with you. This is what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And Kendra is literally sitting there painting from a compact with this giant mirror in front of her. And I'm like, you don't use the mirror? And she said, no, I'm so used to getting ready for club gigs in my compact just quickly. And that is a serious talent.
It really is a skill.
I don't know. I feel like if I did that, one eye would be much bigger than the other or something. 'Cause you can't see your whole face and balance it out.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Girl, your lips are very overdrawn today.
Sweetie, your face is asymmetrical.
That happened one time at I think it was New Year's Eve. Remember, we were at the Globe. We had that giant New Year's Eve party, and we were getting ready in the dark.
Yes.
And I was like, I cannot see myself. And I turned around, and both of you were like, girl, your lips are a little big. They're a little big.
Just a little bit.
Sometimes I look back at our makeup and I'm like, ooh, the lip scale, the eyebrows. Wow.
Different things were trending back then. Now a little eyebrow is cute. It's cutesy and demure, but used to it be chunky Joan Crawford.
I'm still into my chunky Joan Crawford. It's
you just have to do some little flick lines at the base of it and you'll be all right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will say, though, the giant lip era for y'all's makeup. Oh, I loved it. I mean, you look incredible, and you always have, but I do love, there were some Queen Kongs where I'd be like, oh yeah, mama.
There's this one particular picture in our archived camera roll on Instagram, and I look at it and I'm like, damn. It's we had the audacity on so many levels to wear straight long hair, flat, lime green as the color, lips 300% bigger than you see them now, and they're nude. It's a nude color lip. It's not red, it's not black, it's wild.
All right, so let's get into this floor show. You see our look for the episode, which is, retro Halloween kind of inspired.
These are the girls that everybody wants to party with at the retro Halloween party.
Absolutely.
I think you could tell we had fun wearing them. Yeah.
How comfortable were you on set?
It was nice.
You can tell in judgment how much more pleasant we are because we weren't uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Totally.
We couldn't be 100% comfortable. We had to put that mask on. Once the little comfy dress was on, this is so cute. Let's not be too comfortable. Let's put this mask. And you have to have the
eyelashes through the holes. Oh, yes.
Yes, the eyelashes through the holes. And then the band had to go kind of through/under the wig. Fun.
I love drag.
Drag is fun and fierce.
And we get to meet our judges.
Yes.
Tatiana Maslany, who you all know from Orphan Black and She-Hulk. So excited that we have She-Hulk on the show.
Yeah.
Doesn't tie into this challenge. I don't care.
Oh, I think there's a tie-in, which we'll get to.
Okay. All right.
For those of you that never saw She-Hulk, I couldn't advise you more to go check it out. It's so smart. It's just incredibly well written, well acted, really fun. Get into it.
I really hope that if they develop the next Avengers movies to be the characters that they've now revealed on other shows, like Photon from WandaVision, or here we have She-Hulk, that they come back together under an Avengers film. I think that would be
cool.
Really awesome. Yeah. And then we also have Tanana Reeve Dew on this episode, who I absolutely adore. She loves this kind of filthy shit too,
which is so fun.
I know.
I just didn't realize that she was also such a, this is said lovingly, a pervert freak like us. I'm her critiques, I was like, oh my God, you love it.
I mean, she loves the show for a reason.
Yeah, she really does. She's having a great time. Everybody loves her too. I love her. It's just a pleasure to have her on the show.
So let's talk about the floor show itself. So we've talked about our opinions on most of them. How did you feel about the judging, and was your opinion in alignment or no?
I am very proud to say that I was 100% spot on this episode.
Wow.
Really? Glonk, glonk, holiday of horrors, honey. Now, I will say, if anyone looks at my notes, I literally wrote this down so that no one could come for me. I said, holy shit, Asia is Mother's Day. Okay, wait, maybe win? Now that I know it's Mother's Day, I rescind my gray matter win, even though I love it/him, and I give it to Asia. And then Asia clinched the win.
I think you nailed it, because we were going through the same motions. Gray's performance, the look, it was so great and great. Yeah. But wow.
That would be my only, if I had to give a note for Asia specifically in this challenge and to talk about the win, when Gray Matter came out, I was like, bam, Easter Bunny, this is disgusting and rotted, and also a lot of phalluses. This cast loves a phallus.
They're horny.
Horny. But when Asia came out, I don't know if I missed it in the creatives or if it had been said or what the case was, but I just was looking and I was like, okay, I'm getting coat hanger abortion, I'm getting the babies. I thought maybe it was a Valentine's Day reference, and I was like, okay, cool, that works, this is fun. But the second that it was officially said Mother's Day, oops, sorry everyone. Everybody got to go home. I'm so sorry. This is the most hardcore thing on the stage.
I mean, for a challenger, we said we wanted to be offensive and filthy. She nailed it.
Oh, which we didn't talk about earlier. Thank you for making this filth. Thank you so much. Because when it was, the intro was like, oh, it's, indicating all these holiday things. I was like, okay, cool. Holiday of drag filth horrors, not glamour. And I was like, okay, cool. This will be fun. And then when it was, this is filth, I was like, yes, give it to me.
Season 6 is the filth season.
Love it.
And part of that was by design, but part of that we couldn't really anticipate because the competitors themselves bring a lot of filth by their own volition. Without
absolutely.
the prompt. Yeah.
So, and you agree with the bottom as well?
I do. I think that this is a very clear bottom in them. No, they're all bottoms. This is a very clear sort of weakest and strongest in this episode, and also, who was safe. The one thing that I will say is I do think that Desiree was paying homage to Tatiana Maslany by coming as a paralegal for the She-Hulk legal offices.
From Pilgrim Paralegal.
Pilgrim Paralegal and Mayflower Incorporated.
I have to say, Desiree brought the filth performance for sure, because I was like, I don't need to see this chicken version of Terrifier that I'm watching right now. I was like, that poor chicken. It doesn't deserve this.
I mean, I have seen an adult film that is very similar.
Don't want to know.
Definitely not.
She just kept doing everything. Then there was worms. I was just like, okay, she's just throwing everything out.
I will say that for my own opinion, there is a way to do Filth, and there's a way to do Filth correctly. And I don't think that it's incorrect what Desiree did, but I do feel like it should be indicative or be reminding of what the look is, what the challenge is.
Yes.
When the worms came out, I was like, okay, now hold on. What does this have to do? And it's like you're just trying to shock at some point, which is cool. But I think that for me, Majesty, let's talk about them. When Majesty turned around and pissed on the flag, I was like, instant, like, this is a connection. This is Filth. That makes sense. I was actually very, very, very pleased with Majesty this episode.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear
they
that.
looked
Yeah.
amazing.
I thought they did fantastic in the floor show.
Me too. And Vivi, I think, was definitely a standout who made it into the top. And Vivi's look kind of garnished my favorite comment from the judges that Tanana Reeve gave, which was, oh, I loved it. It was like the USA turned inside out and it's all on the grill. And I'm like, yeah, that was cool.
One of the things I want to say about Asia's performance and why she sealed the win is I thought that there were so many layers and so much messaging behind her performance, and it just kept going, slitting open the belly, all the stuff came out, it was so offensive and gross and layered, whereas Grey's just didn't necessarily go anywhere with the performance, and it was a performance Filth challenge.
Competition.
So yeah.
Did you notice there was a little baby in her belly, and when she pulled it out, the makeup was her makeup?
Yes.
I love it. It's so cute.
It's so John Waters. I'm like, perfect. So we tell them what they're doing, which is jumping out of a plane.
Yay!
National Aviation Day.
Oh my God.
I hope people realize now we are not fucking around with the exterminations this year.
Oh, it's pretty apparent.
Yeah, okay,
It's
good.
Pretty apparent.
Yeah, I'm like, how are we going to keep this up next season? But I'll worry about that later.
It's going to be the Nicey Cutie season.
Yeah, totally.
Lucky you, no extermination. No, like,
Nice
Not
cutie
that.
Glamour season. No, that would be boring. I quit. So we get into the cauldron. This is insane, right? What did you think watching it?
This was unbelievable. I do want to say before we go in, National Argument Day had me pissing my pants, mama. I had to pause the episode. I was gagged for National Argument Day in the cauldron.
A holiday that Drac and I celebrate throughout the year.
And they came to argue. They really did.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I was just peaches. I was just so happy. I was like, I cannot believe how this is escalating, first of all, because no real fight just starts out with what we get to, but it's getting really heated. And one thing that I do appreciate about Desiree a lot is when it's time to scrap, the earrings are coming off. Like, she just loves to argue and fight, and that's great reality TV. Like, definitely, if you are a fan of this show or reality TV, you should put some respect on that because it's part of the magic. So she comes in, and it's just on site. And I love that Yuri, I feel like, I'm hoping, has been pushed to the limit and pushed to that point that happens every season where it has been to someone where I'm like, it's do or die now. So get your claws out and let's fucking go. And then we get the chicken throw. What other show has had that on it?
I would say it's a reality TV first,
Girl.
for sure.
Girl, when I saw that, I was like, I took my headphones off. I like ran out of Video Village and just screamed outside because I could not believe we got that shit on camera.
I can't either. I mean, I don't know what she was thinking throwing it because I'm like, that's heavy, but
That's a big object. I mean, that's a big deal, mama.
but Yuri immediately retaliates. So
Yeah.
I think Yuri has been
Well, Yuri's ninja reflexes allows her to block the chicken. And it wasn't enough that we saw it once because Casey's shady edit, which I love. Like Paya's like, yeah, oh, she didn't have to throw the chicken, but she did at Yuri. And she said, nor. And then we saw it in slow motion like 3 times.
I love it.
So, yeah, this was an interesting fight. You know, every season, the cast gets to a boiling point, right? I remember on season 4, you remember that episode 5 where they went insane.
The best episode and the worst episode.
Oh, yeah, totally. That was so amazing. And it happens every season. Well, this is the one for this season.
Yeah.
Everyone's tensions were really high. They had been there for a few weeks at this point, and you can see the wear and tear on people. I mean, it's mentally so taxing.
No, absolutely. And Jack, it's funny because you took your words right off of my notes. Not since the cauldron from season 4 Ghost Ship Glamour has there been this much chaos on Dragula.
Yeah. I was sad to hear Yuri talking about the self-harm stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm also glad that she did it because I think it's relatable and I think it's important.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it was kind of hard to be like, how do we put this in when there's like comedy chicken throat, you know, but I'm like, I think it was done tastefully. And I think it's important.
I hope it was received that way. We didn't want to not include it because it kind of does a dishonor to Yuri's experience. And it was heartbreaking. When it started, I was just kind of like, oh, you feel for someone like that. And I really loved hearing Asia come in and support Yuri in that moment, like building Yuri up.
I think it's one of the best things about the cauldron. The cauldron is my favorite part of the show when it comes to the competitors. And I think that there's an opportunity for not only really spicy drama, but that's where I feel real authentic shit comes out. It's everyone is frayed. Everyone is maybe a little drunk, but everyone is ready to say, if this is my last time on camera, I have got to show what I've got. And for that reason, I think that Yuri, when they're talking about their experience, it feels very authentic to me. And it is heartbreaking, and I feel for them.
I want to say this. When I think about the whole idea of a cauldron, we have to first honor Violencia exclamation point because it was that backstage BTS moment where it was like the music was dun, 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 dun. She's like, but you don't have to jump out of a plane. And she was like freaking out. We're like, get the cameras down there. So she planted the seed of this developing this segment of the show because it didn't exist for the first couple of seasons. But the person that comes to mind who deserves all the flowers, my cauldron kitchen witch, is Zavaleta.
Oh, yeah.
Zava, right out of the gate, episode 1 on season 4, episode 5, she showed up. I mean, the moments that she gave us, and her supporting cast, Jade, Hoso, Mary, Betty,
Dolly.
I mean, like, the whole cast. Season 4 was amazing.
Yeah. So I want to say this to fans listening. I think Desiree comes off as insensitive in this battle, obviously.
Yeah, she
because
definitely does.
I think she was trying to fight for her place. I will say she is not a heartless person at all. She's actually very sensitive and sweet and nurturing at times, but also chaotic. You don't necessarily get to see that on the show because that's not what she does when the cameras are rolling.
Sure.
So I just want to tell people at home, like, do not attack her. Like, again, reality TV, they're being pushed to their limit and they all react to that in different ways. Auntie sort of steps up to the plate on this episode, right?
Yes.
You don't like it.
It's not that I don't like it. I'm wondering where we're going with Auntie because I feel as though episodes 1 and 2, Auntie is like a scythe. And I love it. I'm like, you are vicious and you are bordering on like evil queen Disney level, which I love. And then in this episode, it's like Auntie Heroine's therapy episode where Auntie gives a very, very measured and I think normal reaction to Scylla leaving that I'm like, oh, well, this is actually, I think, the most level-headed thing that has been said by Auntie to Scylla about their experience on the show. Okay, that's nice to see. And then we have this huge explosion of drama in the cauldron, and suddenly my scythe, vicious dagger character is like, why are we fighting? And I'm like, you know exactly why we're fighting. What do you mean, why are we fighting? Like, what, huh? And that... Auntie always looks fabulous. I'm really proud that she actually vomited because that's hard to do.
Yeah.
People try to vomit on the show all the time, and it is such a cringe drama when it doesn't work. So thank you for vomiting. But I want to see.
It's interesting that you pick up on the duality of Auntie's character because you learn more maybe where that comes from in her history.
Oh, I'm excited. I mean, and all that's to say, love Auntie. I love this cast. They're all great.
Me too. And Desiree is responsible for my favorite line in The Cauldron. I'm afraid of heights, but I'm not afraid of Yuri.
Well, speaking of, we leave for the airfield. And I got to say, again, it is taxing on the competitors to do this stuff, but it is taxing on us as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because my ass woke up at the crack of dawn and drove all the way out there to that airfield to direct that shit. And it was... I just didn't think about it when we said, we're going to direct it and still be the hosts and, stars of the show. I didn't realize that means I don't get a break. So I don't get, people take off Sunday, not me. I'm going to the extermination. Or I'm doing the shot list or whatever. And I'm like, it is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And people say, why don't you all do 2 seasons? I'm like, because I would die.
Girl, I'm sorry, with what free time?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But they both showed up. They were positive. They were fun. They both jumped without hesitation. And being on the ground, it was really funny because I'm looking up at the sky waiting for them to come down with the camera crew. And I hear Yuri all the way before I could even see her. She was like, like a cartoon.
So cool.
And then
That's
she
amazing.
manifested. And so she was super terrified of heights. I don't know. Desiree seemed to handle it a little better in that regard, but I could see an immediate breakthrough with Yuri when that happened.
Oh, cool.
It's amazing. This is not the first time we've seen skydiving on the show, but it is the first time we've seen 2 people actually do it.
Yes.
And the camera angle, on the rewatch, I was like, wow, this is absolutely an experience to overcome. Because that extreme angle when they're kind of 1, 2, and they're kind of waving back and forth, and you can see 30,000 feet down or whatever in the background, and then poof. Desiree's just gone. Poof. Yuri's gone. I'm like, wow.
This is one of those exterminations that I personally would not like to do.
But you'd still do it.
I would do it, but it would be the last thing I would want to do. I cannot stand the idea when you're hanging down, because they're strapped to them face down.
Yeah.
And just I'm like, I don't trust that nylon. I don't trust those buckles. Just to hang there that high off the ground, I would die. That'd be it for me. I'd be gobbling Klonopin or Xanax or something.
Wait, Goblin Klonopin.
Goblin Klonopin season 7.
Wow. And our
That's
winner
amazing. Goblin Klonopin.
It's Jarvis Hammer's alternate drag character.
Okay, I feel like we need a fantasy Dragula season. That's the Creatures of the Night fantasy season.
Yeah.
Goblin Klonopin, Nightingale Triple X.
Damn, that sounds good.
I'm like, this season is lit.
So then we say goodbye to Desiree on this episode.
Yes.
Which I was sad to see. But again, I want to remind people, everybody's going to go home until the last person wins. So it's part of the game, right? You only get to see people for a limited time on the show, and you never know when their card is going to get pulled.
Death by Jib.
Death by Jib. Yes!
You know how that was, everything is relating to being on set and movies and all that. I've always thought about that because I'll see the jib swing down when we're doing, doing the intros and floor show intros. And I'm like, it is dark as hell in here. I'm like, someone is going to get clocked with that and they're going to die. And so that's where that whole idea came from.
Yeah, that's a piece of equipment, because to counterbalance that camera, they use plates that I've seen in
the gym,
Equinox and the gym, 45 pounds on each side to just give it a little balance. So it's definitely a hardcore piece of equipment.
And you were actually physically
jibbing,
manually jibbing, because there's no way to have someone stand in and do it.
In the heels, in the nails, I'm doing this.
Well, I thought it was a great death scene. I'm sad to see Desiree go, but again, someone's going to go every week until we find a winner. So, all right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to answer all your listener questions from episode 2. All right, and we are back. This is our question and answer portion of the episode. So if you have a question for us about the episode we reviewed today, please email us at creatures@BouletBrothersDragula.com and we will answer it on air.
Oh, no intro for me this time? All right, man, sounds good. I guess I'll be digging into the bag of mail. And Ian, will I do the honors? Oh, yes, I'd love to. Haley from Connecticut writes, I wanted to write in and ask what the inspiration was for having the I Love Hollywood lip sync during the Killer Dolls challenge. I love Slater, and I was so excited to see her music in a moment on the Boulet Brothers Dragula, but I was curious as to why that song specifically.
What's the whole idea that I'm talking about? There's an underlying theme of Hollywood and movies, and that's the whole thing. So I thought it was kind of perfect. The energy's great too.
Yeah.
For a lip sync, I think.
It's really fun. From the intro where you see us driving dun 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 and like down the street, the Hollywood sign is there. Welcome to the Hollywood where dreams come to die. And then on this specific episode that we had just seen, you have legitimate influencers in Hollywood like Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly. Like that is the through line.
Claire writes, Good day from sunny Australia. First of all, thank you for the cameo. All three of you exceeded expectations, and as a fan, I greatly appreciate the effort that went into said cameos. In the cameo, I asked what your favorite song in the new Halloween EP was, and thank you for answering. My question now for the Fab 3 is the same, but in regards to the Time to Die EP.
Oh, so what's our favorite song from Time to Die? I'm going to say I really like No Need to Argue because it was such a departure and I could actually sing on it. So that's the one I picked.
I'm picking R.I.P. because it's a banger and I love it.
I'm going to go with R.I.P. as well, but you know, I'm waiting for the R.I.P. Drac remix.
Not happening.
Hannah writes, First, I must gush. I've been playing your EP, Halloween House Party, nonstop. Each song has such a different, delicious flavor of spooky energy. Your beautiful voices perfectly represent my favorite time of year. The Requiem of Halloween intro in particular reminded me of Elvira's Haunted Hits intros. Perfection. Please keep the music coming. Now, my question. Have you ever considered doing challenges based on specific famous figures in the world of drag, filth, horror, or glamour, such as John Waters, Stephen King, Wes Craven, etc.?
We have, but it's challenging to make that happen because there's been a Stephen King challenge floating on the board. I remember during COVID, there was discussions of having him come out, but he was very, very walled off during COVID. So that got scrapped. So it's hard to invest in that until you know for sure the judge can be there. But I do think, and you could see in last episode with Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly, that is why we did a doll episode. So yes, we've done it and we are open to doing more.
Noah from Tampa asks, I'm not sure if you've answered this before, but how do you pick the Extra Sisters?
I think it's kind of an intuitive process, but the biggest influence would be how the fans react to them.
Yeah, I think that too. And they have to be workable with production. So as you're filming with people, you learn who's sort of like there to play the role and who understands how TV works. And so that is definitely a quality.
Yeah, those might sound like negatives too, like play the role and like understand how TV works. But I think the truth is these are people that are natural on camera.
Right. Yeah.
Stephanie from Indiana writes, Anyway, I've only been watching the show since Titans released. I understand when the season first starts, it's not easy to edit 12 monsters worth of floor shows into a single episode. Would you ever consider putting an extended cut of their performances on YouTube?
The answer to that is no, we would not do that. First of all, we wouldn't put any content on YouTube. If I were going to do that, I would put it out on a platform. But I just feel like you don't need to see what you don't see. There's a reason why this gets edited the way that it does. And it would be so boring if you watched the same, there's no value to showing the hardcore group of fans. This is what everyone actually did. It's not fun.
You must think you don't want it.
You don't want it.
You really don't,
You don't.
actually. You think you do, but you don't.
No.
Matt asks, Your Halloween House Party EP is my new fave boofy bop, and alongside Twin Temple is my most fun listen for the season. I am gutted to find out that I seriously snoozed and lost when it came to snatching one of the black and white swirl vinyl variants or bundles. Is there any chance you'll be dropping any more of this variant or releasing any other colorways in the future?
It's possible. I don't think we'll release the same black and white one because it was a limited edition and we want to keep it that way. But there may be a new edition coming out.
Dynabead writes, 1. Prize money provided by us. Like, everything you do feels very intentional. Do you two come out of pocket for this? That's kind of amazing.
That's an absolutely hell yes. Yes, we come out of pocket for it, and it sucks.
But is also intentional.
Yeah, it's intentional. I like people to see, and I need them to remember, we also are drag performers that started in a little bar and have now got to where we are and are able to give $100,000 for a prize. Well, I'm not really sure if we're able to do it or not, but we do it. And I think, I think it says a lot to say, hey, this is money I went out and earned and I'm giving it to you. Hopefully it inspires them to kind of go and do that themselves. Not so far, but maybe someone will do it one day.
Slay it forward.
Elle from Brooklyn writes, the floor show music is always a highlight of the episode for me, and I'd love to know more about the process behind it. Do you create the tracks when you think of the floor show theme or after the season has been shot? If the former, are the monsters doing their floor shows to the music for that theme?
So usually it's created beforehand, and they are actually doing the floor show to the music because, you want them to move on beat along with whatever song you use. And Swan, for the last couple of seasons, has been working with the Tomas, who makes all of our music, to make those floor show cues.
Adrian asks, so now I'm curious. What exactly are you looking for in the competitors during an extermination? Is making a joke out of the challenge a big no-no? What if Scylla said she wanted to get a Prince Albert or pierce her butt cheeks together? Would she still be on the show?
If she got her butt cheeks pierced together, she would definitely still be here for episode 3. I think that the exterminations are kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes they absolutely are a fear factor directly related to the challenge that you have to overcome to qualify as a bad enough bitch to keep going forward. And sometimes, like the skydiving challenge of this episode, they're just qualifiers. If you don't do this, then you'll be eliminated. And if you both do this, then we look to other things. And we've explained this many times before on previous seasons. We look how you are on set, your professionalism, how you are on camera, who you are, and what your drag is looking like. How well did you perform in the floor show? All of these things become factors to decide who stays and who goes.
Yeah, it's less of a decider and more of a qualifier, I would say, because we're like, okay, well, you're both up. Let's see if you both are willing to push it to stay in the competition. And then if they do, we will consider, how did they do? Were they entertaining? Did they make it interesting? And then you also weigh how their floor show was and how they did so far in the season. So that's what decides all.
Yeah. For your poor performance, you must be punished.
Right. And on that note, I think it's time to end this episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night Post-Mortem. Make sure to rate, subscribe, and review wherever you listen. And again, email your questions in to creatures@BouletBrothersDragula.com. We'll see you next time, Uglies.
The Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night is hosted and produced by Dracmorda and Swantula Boulet, along with co-host Ian DeVogler, with music by Neuron Spectre.